Okay, so today we're going to talk about reality recoding as you're building or scaling your business and brand. Woo! Okay, that sounds like a terribly serious title. Oh my gosh, that was a lot for me to keep it together to say that. Hi, hello, welcome. Darling, can you please pass me the bong? Yay! And the portal lighter. I've got this lighter that's a portal. It just vanishes, and then it comes back, and then it vanishes, and then it comes back, and then it flew out of my hand the other day, and I thought that was pretty fabulous. Seemed terribly on brand. So, the past few weeks, I have been recording longer content, and I've always been a long-form content gal, you know what I mean? Like, I never got it really into the 7-second B-roll reels. I tried it a little as a treat. The least I really liked was about 33 seconds. And that just seemed forced, you know? I've always just communicated my brand via storytelling, really. And that is like my entire content creation process is really just storytelling. I tell stories about what I'm doing, and then people are like, I want in on that. And then they buy whatever I'm selling that lets them in on that. And then I'm like, yay, welcome. And then they're like, woohoo. And then it's like a party. And that's just what we do. Like, that's it. Like, that's the vibe. There's my entire fucking business strategy. That'll be $111 for my masterclass. Thank you. But today only you can get it for free on my podcast. Okay. I'm doing a bit, y'all. Let's hit the bong about it. Hi, baby. Mira has been in all the recordings today. She's like, we had tacos for lunch. They were great, everybody. Yes, they were. Yes. Your father made tacos and they were fabulous. Yes. Yes, I was just saying they were they're very similar to the homemade bougie version of like my favorite like ground beef cheap tacos from college. Like, hi, baby girl. Yes, I love you. Can you stop walking on me, please? Thank you. It's just a concept that I'm floating up the flagpole to see.
Yeah, she's got this big smile on her face.
If that's a vibe. So I was telling Michael, you know, like I've always been into longer content. I've always told stories and stuff, but the past couple of weeks I've been recording much longer content, like 2.5-ish hours for a few of the Multidimensional Baddie podcast episodes. And I've just been recording like much longer content because I did it was like 2 hour and 40-minute extravaganza talking all about the upcoming academic season for Witchery U and what all we've got for you guys and all the different options and offers and tiers and all the things and how it was fabulous. And then this morning I recorded a 2-hour rant / bringing hope to the planet episode. It was a rose rant, and it was also what can we all do to bring some hope to this planet on like a daily basis kind of vibe. Because I've just seen a lot. I've seen a lot of bullshit, especially over the summer. Over the past 3 months, it's like the bullshit frequency hit all-time record highs, you guys, okay? And so part of my planetary and interdimensional work requires me to see a very high level of the ick so that I can connect the dots about what the ick's up to and what's going on and, you know, give the information to the interdimensional teams and then they can run that up flagpoles, whatever they need to do. I don't fucking know. Anyways, I'm kidding. We don't really do flagpoles unless they're like bedazzled these days interdimensionally. It's really about the vibe and the aesthetic. But anyways, so, I've just seen, I just seen like a ton of the ick and the gross vibes. And I had a lot of disgust built up. And I was like, you know, if I feel like this, other people do too. So I'm going to express myself and I'm going to give this energy a place to live that's not inside of me. Right. I'm gonna put that somewhere else, and I'm gonna record a free for all rant. That was my intention. I was like, I'm gonna record a rant. I'm gonna go on a rant. I was like, I gotta get the tripod. I'm going on a rant, right? And that's such a fabulous strategy to do, is to like release the poison from yourself. You know what I mean? To highlight the things that are causing dysresonance within you, that you have seen that have caused dysresonance within the collective, right? And so I ranted for 2.5 hours. I felt much better, and moved on with my day. And that's one of my favorite strategies, is like when sometimes, it's hard to create anything new when you're filled to the brim with all of the bullshit of the old, right? And so you have to give that place, you have to give that stuff a place to live external to you. And so I always recommend to people to create something about it, create art, write about it, paint about it, record a rant, right? Whether you ever put it out or not. But personally, I just, this kind of, this rant in particular, the reason why I encountered all of this stuff was so I could have this rant, so that I could connect with people who have firsthand experience of dealing with everything that I was talking about, so that they can come into what I've been working on for them, which is the various levels of my new work, from, my free content, like my podcasts, my YouTube, things like that, all the way up to the Multidimensional Baddie Academy in Witchery U, right? So, I've created an immense amount of content on a variety of things, and I continue to do so like every single day, because I have a lot of people to talk to about a lot of different things, and I want to connect with those people. I want those people, if I'm feeling like this, like I experience for my collective, that's why I have the amount of information on like the collectives that I've worked with, that I do, because I literally, I become part of the collectives that I work with, and then I experience what that collective is experiencing, and then I find and create solutions to assist that collective in whatever transformation process they're undergoing, right? So but my work is all surrounding the individual, because individuals are what make up collectives, right? But people have these common themes. They have these common threads that connect them. And so when you have encountered a bunch of bullshit, when you've gone through a bunch of stuff and come out the other side, it's important to give those frequencies somewhere to live. And sometimes that's in a rant in a podcast episode, or sometimes that's in a brand new collection, of your art, or, whatever. And then, creating new ways for people to live, and new resources for whatever it is that you're ranting about, right? If I'm just over here ranting about things, but I don't have solutions that are going to make things better, I'm kind of just contributing to the problem. So that's part of the reason too why I have so much to rant about, is because I've spent so much time creating at least the beginnings of solutions to a lot of issues that I've seen, that I've soaked up a lot of that energy that I've been working to create things to take care of. And so I have a lot to discuss now, right? It's like I've kind of stored it up, and I have a lot to discuss now. I also am really leaning into, audio recording and podcasting, and, vocal-based content, because I'll be honest, I've kind of been beating myself up this whole time for not doing video-based content, because all the successful people do it, right? And I'm fucking sick of that. I love being able to sit on my couch in my pajamas, cuddling with my bong. I'm currently drying my hair. I have curly hair, so I have a drying process that takes about 8 hours when I do my hair. It's really easy though. I just twist it 3 times and then I put it up, right? That's it. But then after I've oiled it, obviously. Moroccan oil is your BFF, okay? So that's the process of me drying my hair, and I do this until when my hair is shorter, that's how I do it. And then when my hair is longer, although I haven't tried the 3-clip, the 3-twist method with longer hair. So I'm excited. My hair's shorter right now. I'm excited for my hair to get longer so I can try this method with my longer hair. Anyways, but I'm not sitting here I don't want to be on a camera, and I could just show up with my hair in its drying process, with my twists in, like whatever, just chilling in my pink Los Angeles t-shirt, cuddling my bong on a video. But I don't want to. Like, I actively don't want to be seen. I just don't. And I realized a few days ago, like, podcasting's literally perfect for me. Like, I just get to hit record and I get to talk about whatever the fuck I want. And I currently have 3 podcasts. Like, like I've got a variety of options for this to go. So like, and then I have a YouTube channel too, right? And so I've been also simultaneously like over here like, oh, well, if I'm ever going to do anything serious on YouTube, like I'm going to have to be on camera. No, right? Like, no, I don't want to do that. So of course I'm resisting making that kind of content. Excuse me. So what I've realized the past couple of days, don't put your knee back next to mine. Okay. I was trying to touch Michael's knee with mine surreptitiously behind the camera. Thank you. Or behind, it's not even a camera, behind the, whatever this is, the recorder, the phonograph.
The microphone.
The microphone. My iPhone 8.
Plus.
I was like, is it a plus? I think it's a plus. It's a fabulous phone.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm emotionally attached to it, and I need to replace it, but I haven't done it yet. It's still working. It's fine. It's literally functioning for what I need it to. So why fucking bother? Anyways, moving right along. So I just don't care that much. It's functioning for exactly what I need it to. Like, what is the big deal? What is the big deal? There is not one. So yeah. What I'm in the process of doing is recoding my reality. So I had myself a beautiful little flowing, vibey kind of matrix built for myself. Because I left the Matrix really early, right? I left the Matrix in 2018 full time. I have not been in the Matrix full time since February 2nd of 2018. Okay? So had to do it on a portal day, honeys. So everything was still functioning on the old grids, which meant that I was in massive testing mode for all the newest, most innovative, most forward-thinking Aquarian ways to do everything and learn every fucking rule so that I could break every fucking rule. Because when I was 16 years old, my opera teacher, because I was classically trained in opera from the age of 15 to 20-something, my opera teacher was like, Elena, you will never be able to break the rules the way that you want to unless you learn them first. And I was like, okay, teach me every rule. And you know, and I did. And then she because she said if I knew the rules and I knew how to properly break them with my voice, she'd let me break them. And I was like, challenge accepted, right? So that's what I did. Can you hold this, darling? I need a drink. Yeah. And then let's have a hit, because I waited 40 minutes into my last recording. It's only 13 minutes in right now, so I think we need to go ahead and do a celebratory hit, because we're celebrating being here. Thank you. Boop, boop, boop. So there were lots of, like, rules and stuff in the old grid, right? And so what I basically did was I built myself a brand new rule book to play by, because you kind of had to. That's just the way that the energy functioned in the old grid. And the grid was not switched until the end of 2023 was when the grid shift happened. So everything prior to the end of 2023 for the past few thousand years has functioned on a completely different architecture and multidimensional grid pattern. Since Capricorn season-ish of 2023, it's like the very end of December 2023, everything started to shift. But it is a slow burn. It's a long game. Because when you're doing a planetary alchemical process, bless you, my darling. Amelia just sneezed. When you're doing a planetary alchemical process, you don't just want to hit the inhabitants of that planet with, boom, everything functions differently now. You have to give people a chance to switch, right? So that switch began at the end of 2023, and we're now kind of approaching the peak of that switch point, moving into 2026 and 2027. So things are really beginning to shift, how they're working, how, there's a huge survival narrative right now because so many people are clinging to the old grid and the old grid's ways rather than moving into a new way of doing things, right? So there's kind of been a lack of that thriving narrative. And it's kind of been tuning only into that survival narrative because people, for the most part, really don't know what's going on, right? So it's a massive shift into what everyone wanted, which was doing less, receiving more, doing exactly what you want to do, living how you want to live, getting paid for it, right? But then when that comes up and people are presented with the option to do that, they're like, oh, that's too easy. No, that's clearly not real work. And this is never going to work. And this is insane, right? So there's been a decent amount of pushback about that the past little bit, right? And I definitely experienced my own pushback with that, right? When you're in any kind of a matrix, like, especially if it was a nice one, mine was a really nice one. I was like, I'm going to build the nicest matrix ever in a matrix for myself to live in. It's going to be fabulous, right? Like, it was a very nice little comfortable existence. It was quite fun. But, to roll with the vibe of the rest of the planet, it was time for me to yeet that back in like 2021. And so I began that process. And I always do things early because that's just what I do. So that I can create what I need to create for my collectives, right? And so now that's what I've done. And it's time for me to recode my reality from the old way that I did things, which I enjoyed very much. I'm going to be honest. Like, I did enjoy all of the things that I had all these processes and systems and all this other stuff, right? It was great. And a bunch of that stuff's just like not really the vibe anymore. But I went through all of my systems, all of my processes, because I had tested all of the things that I was going to do and teach in the new grid while I was in that interim period between 2017 when Harvest Rose really started taking off and the grid shift in 2023, because I was already on my grid mission by the time 2023 rolled around. So I was on a creative sabbatical from like the entire brand in 2023. And Michael was paying all of the bills. It was fabulous. It was great. Oh, it was wonderful. It was like I never thought I'd let a man pay my bills again, y'all. Ooh, I did not think that was going to happen. And when we got together, summer of 2022, he'd already started paying like my phone bill. Because it was an experience I had to have for the codes. I did it for the codes and for my collective. So yeah, did that back then, and now I pay all the bills again. So it's funny, we do this, and I intend for Witchery U to just pay all the bills forever, to be honest. So it's because now we both work for Harvest Rose. He still worked at the Matrix in 2022 too. Yeah. So part of my biggest mission in 2022 was in getting him out of the Matrix, and he had booked the VIP package, which included, you know what, honey, I'll just pay your bills. It's fine. He booked the VIP package interdimensionally that no one else will ever receive, okay? Yeah, that's you got it, honey. Oh, bonk hit. Is it 1738? No, it's 1922. Oh, well. That wasn't a horrendous year, 1922. Yeah. Like the worst. In my realities anyways, not sure about anybody else's, don't want to speak for you, but for me, personally, I remember 1922 had a pleasant summer and a nice fall. And that's about it. But in which timeline? Because I've been in a few that we're lapping over with 1922. Anyways, so as I'm shifting out of my own matrix that I built for myself, and I have a feeling that a lot of people who are going through rebrands or who have recently like left the company that they built that was super successful, and then they're like, oh my God, what do I do now, right? I think a lot of you guys were literally just, you woke up early. You refused to join the matrix to begin with. Or you left it, you know, in the old grid, right? And leaving the matrix in the old grid was a completely different experience than leaving the matrix in 2020 and beyond. Okay, so by the time 2020 hit, we were already doing massive interdimensional clear-outs of all of the planetary collapse timelines, which was an immense amount. So you can think about every natural disaster that never occurred, every war that never happened, every asteroid that never hit Earth, every whatever, right? Every time Earth could have evolved and she didn't. Every time Earth had a failed cohesion event. Every time Earth had a bad day. Every time Earth was like, you're an asshole! Why are you standing on my spine? Taking pictures and posting them on Instagram! You dickbag, get off me! And, you know, yeeted somebody off a mountain. Every time Earth, like, you know, so, you know, you have to start to remember that Earth has planets have consciousness, planets are consciousness, planets are a being of consciousness that is currently having an experience as a planetary orb. But if that planet no longer existed, that consciousness would still remain, and then that consciousness could funnel into a new expression of reality, right? Because planetary consciousness doesn't die, even if the vessel for it were to no longer be in physical form, right? That consciousness would go elsewhere. It could go into a different planetary object or celestial sphere of some sort. It could become a planed existence. It could become a person on Earth in 2020 or something like that. It could go wherever it really wanted to, provided it had the mechanics to match the experience. And then if it didn't, there are places that those mechanics can be developed or diversified, as I like to say. Have you diversified your soul mechanics portfolio lately, people? If not, I've got some people to introduce you to, okay? Don't worry about it. I know some people. They're baddies. Obviously, all I know is baddies, and all we do is win, 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 no matter what. Because everything we do is like, yes, I am winning. I was sitting in the bathtub at the Pixie Motel last year like, I'm winning. I was living my Sam and Dean dreams from 2017, okay? Well, we never can decide if I'm Sam and Michael's Dean, or if I'm definitely Dean. I think I'm definitely Dean, and I think Michael's definitely the one with the laptop. I don't even have a laptop right now.
That's valid. That's valid.
I have a car. Oh my gosh.
That's how we know.
Is Baby the Impala? We should just name her Baby.
We should just
That's
name her
what we're going to name her Baby. We've been trying to figure out, but this whole time my car hasn't had a name, you guys. And Michael had a big truck when we met, but before we went on the grid mission, we were like, we got to lean down. We need to pare this shit down. We do not need two vehicles. Let's consolidate. Yeah. And worked out well for us, right? We're just going to name her Baby. Her name's Baby. Oh my God. Baby. And then, oh my gosh. My book, Deja Vu, big old Deja Vu. That was a big one. My book, Remember Your Syrian Healing Training, has a sticker on the front that says Baby in neon. Right above an alien with a, what is that? Is that a frequency sign or is that a heart rate? I mean, what's the difference?
A bit of both. A heart rate is a frequency sign.
Precisely.
It's a rate.
It's a pretty one. It says it has a neat coffee with a battery. It has a Bigfoot sticker that says Believe in Yourself. It has a bat by a local artist, but local to where I'm not sure, to be honest. I buy local art everywhere we've been, and I've bought prints. I've bought some pottery, and I buy stickers everywhere we go. The front of every single one of my sketchbooks is usually worth like $40 to $75 just because I buy people stickers all the time. So if you're sitting there listening to this and you're like, I want to make stickers, but that's stupid. Nobody's ever going to buy it. I mean, like maybe, I don't know, join Witchery U at like the basic Witchery tier. Come in, drop me a link for your stickers. I might have bought enough stickers by the time, like, you know, I love stickers, you guys, okay? Drop your stickers. Somebody in there is going to love them. Somebody somewhere is going to love them. Drop your stickers somewhere. Don't even bother to join Witchery U. I don't care. Just go somewhere and sell your stickers because there's somewhere out there and someone, you know, and there's like someone out there somewhere in some coffee shop that's like, oh my God, you know what I need is the sticker of this lantern. And it's like a lantern you drew like some summer while you were sitting on like the front porch of a cabin in the middle of nowhere, like kind of miserable, right? Go out and draw that lantern, boo. Do it. And then, if you draw lanterns and you don't drop me a link somewhere for your lantern stickers, I'm going to be personally offended. I want you to know that, okay? Let me buy your shit, please. That's why I manifest so much money. That's why I have such high level, like, interdimensional contracts to collect on Earth, because I really like buying people's stuff. It's like my favorite thing ever. I love shopping, and I love it when like people get like really like, because I know what that feels like, right? Because I mean, you have to remember, Harvest Rose Witchery started as a small Etsy store, and I used to sell 3 packs of tea lights for $5.50 each. And I still remember what it felt like to get an order for $5.50 for my fucking candles. Okay, so just like I will never forget that. I'm big about remembering where you came from. You know what I mean? Which is kind of funny given the fact that I can't still on an interdimensional level. Yeah, we've been looking for home for a minute. We're like, where are we from? But it's okay. Don't worry. I've got some specialists on it, which is why I was like, if you guys need some people, don't worry, honeys. I've got people. I've been collecting them and vetting them personally. I test them all on myself. I will never recommend you somebody that I haven't tested on myself. And if they don't pass the vibe check, I banish them from my reality, and you'll never hear me speak their name unless you ask me a direct question and need confirmation one way or another. And I'll be like, I've either heard of that person or not, but I've pretty much heard of everybody. That's the fun thing about having been doing this for so long. So anyways, what am I doing when I'm talking right now? I'm recoding my reality. What does that mean? Well, your reality is a reflection of the way that you code it. That's kind of the easiest way I can put it. And if that sounds overly simple, I'm sorry. I just work here, and I've been trying really hard for many years to figure out how to describe all of the things that I know, and I'm doing my best. Okay, so like maybe have some compassion. Thank you. Anyways, and also maybe have some compassion for yourself. Maybe it's okay if we don't know absolutely everything about everything to share what we do know and then come to new realizations. It's just a concept. So anyways, moving right along. Thank you. When I'm saying these things, I'm not speaking necessarily to you that's listening. I'm speaking to an entire... I'm speaking to an entire planetary sphere at large. And by you listening to what I'm saying, I'm creating a grid. Okay? And then every single point for every single person who listens to my voice, we're creating a web around the planet. And this is part of what I will be teaching this fall in Business in 7D. I have a whole little section about starting the conversation and connecting the web. That's literally what it's called. Start the conversation, connect the web. And we do that at the end of Business in 7D for a reason. And that reason is that you need to have enough of a connection with yourself and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And really on a multidimensional level, there's a lot of stuff that we have to tune into before we can really go out and take your brand to more of the concept of like the masses, right? And what I mean when I say the masses is like, I'm working with less than 10 people right now, privately and in Witchery U, and that is by design. I recommend my clients to do this as well, and also my students, and I'm going to tell you, when you're starting something brand new, especially if it's something that you intend to last, immortalized throughout time. I've been There's stuff in Witchery U that I created 7 years ago. I firmly believe that people will be finding just as much value in my work in 50 years as they are today. In fact, I think they'll be finding much more value in my work in 50 years than they are today. So I'm creating with a long-term investment of every morsel of my time in sight, right? And so it's worth it to me to spend the time. I mean, what the fuck else am I doing, right? It's like I'm in a reality recode stage. And I will also be teaching this in Business in 7D this fall too. Inside of Monetize Your Magic and Witchery U, included in the Multidimensional Baddie Academy. Thank you. Anyways, so, and every time I mention that, I am coding to myself, this is my job now, right? Because I built myself into this beautiful little matrix where I was a professional witch and I sold spell work consultations and spells and energy work and sometimes a little as a treat witchcraft courses, and like that was what I did, right? For years, my job was readings and spell work, readings and spell work, readings and spell work. Like my whole world was spell work, and it's not now, you know. It's because I wanted to do something different. So because I wanted to do something different, I have to recode my reality. And this ain't my first rodeo, because I was a professional belly dancer before I was a professional witch. And so every time that you choose to recode your reality, but it takes a process to get there, right? You have to start to know who this new version of you is. I had to go through a whole period of getting to know this new version of me, right? I literally moved across the country, changed my career path, and entered into a relationship that I had been manifesting my entire life, all in the same year. And then I started talking to all the aliens. Okay? And then I went digital nomading as a manifester with a projector. Then we ran out of money, which I did by design. I didn't know I did it by design. I thought I was just failing at everything, right? But we ran out of money on purpose because I had to be able to prove that Monetize Your Magic and the beginning systems that I have would jumpstart someone back from zero to where they wanted to go, to right back to where they had been, right? So like, for example, you know, the goal is like, now I've got these 2 different levels of students and clients that I can talk to with Monetize Your Magic, right? And I'm realizing this is really coming online as I'm recording this episode, right? So I have the level of Monetize Your Magic that I knew about, which was somebody who's just in the process of monetizing their magic. And then I have the level of Monetize Your Magic that's like, okay, you already successfully monetized your magic so hard that you quit that career. You completely didn't know who the fuck you were. You went through like an entire ego death and identity crisis. You probably literally had a moment where you felt like you actually died. Like I had a night where I was like, Rose Dumaine is dead. And that is the night that Elena Rose Dumaine was born. I'm a phoenix. It was a very emotional night. Like it was fucking Scorpio season. Of course it was. The moon's in Scorpio right now as I'm recording this. Like, the moon was in Virgo that night though. Yeah, but like, I mean, it was crazy, right? Because I so heavily identified with like, I thought I identified as the belly dancer, and then I became the witch. And the witch was so deeply ingrained in my being across space and time. Like, I still get emotional about it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the shit nobody ever fucking talks about in business, you know? Like, it's like, literally, like, I have a theater degree. It's like leaving a role that you so heavily identified with that you became them. You know what I mean? Like, you were the expression of them and they were you. And probably only actors are going to know what that's like. But, like, that's I also have experienced that. I experienced that when I was in college, and that was like traumatizing in and of itself. Like, I remember sitting on the fucking plane after that show had ended, and I was going to Los Angeles. Funnily enough, I was going to Los Angeles for the holidays because that's where my family lives. And I was like just staring out the plane window, like for fucking, I think it was like 2.5 hours straight. Like I was just staring out the plane window. I think I had my headphones in. I was just staring. And I was like simultaneously thinking to myself, like, bro, that play fucked me up. Like, I am not okay right now. I am not okay right now. Like, because I literally felt like I had left a part of my identity behind. And then, wouldn't you know, that play happened to have been set in Atlanta, Georgia. And in that play, my character, like, got engaged to the guy she was in love with. And, like, everything she wanted, like, worked out. And I was like, I think that I had like subconsciously kind of like put like a version of Michael who lived his entire life in Atlanta, like right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, right? Yeah. I had put like cause I, you know, on a subconscious level, I know where he is, right? Cause I'm going to go find him in, you know, 12 years, 11 years, whatever it was at that point. But then it like, you know, I did not know what was going on, and that like fucked me up for a minute. So in this episode, in the last 36 minutes, while just talking into my microphone on my phone and just kind of expressing myself and just really naturally, none of this was planned. This is just all this is thanks to my improv training. I have effortlessly talked to like I could probably go back and identify 6 to 9 different clients that are actually people I've told Michael that I feel like I've got contracts with and I'm supposed to work with to, you know, in whatever capacity that we have that, right? So I'm recoding my reality by literally talking to the people now that I want to talk to about things that I can effortlessly talk about. And so that's like that's kind of really cool. Also at the same time, having this realization about like, oh yeah, I've already effortlessly got like, you know, I've got stuff for the person who's already been super duper fucking successful, gone through all of this stuff and then is like, okay, well now I need to make some more money. Or now I'm so fucking bored and I want a job, you know, like I want to do something again. Like I want to feel that again because let's be real, business is fun. Making money is fun, okay? And people don't talk about that aspect enough either. Like I got so fucking bored not getting any PayPal notifications. Like I love making money. I love making money, right? It's fun. It is fun seeing that come into your bank account, right? And knowing that came into your bank account because you were monetizing your magic. But like, how do you become a new you? Like, don't you just have to retire and like just like be glad for those few years you got? Hell no. Right? Like that's gonna get real boring real quick too. And then you're gonna be sitting there, you know, in what, you want to be sitting there in like 10 years like, damn, I wish I'd just figured my shit out and gone on and monetized the next level of my magic. I just outgrew that level of my magic. And that's what happened, right? I outgrew that level of my magic. I just couldn't talk to anybody else that was still at that level anymore. And I wanted to help them. And I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, because I was over here working like literally planetary and inter-universal scale magic in 2020. And then so like by night, I was doing the coolest shit I had ever heard of. I'd never heard of anybody doing what I was doing. I had never heard of anyone doing what I was doing. I was astral projecting outside of the planet. I was weaving a new astral grid for Earth. I was working with people on the astral plane that like, I didn't know, but I knew. It was like a great fucking party every night. We were all just like astral projected, like on the astral plane doing whatever it was for Earth. Like it was great. You know what I mean? And then I would go to sleep and I would wake up the next day and I would have a calendar full of calls. Sometimes with people that I really loved, that I really liked talking to. But the truth was, when you're doing shit like that, you know, and then when I wasn't doing that, I was going on these astral journeys to what I've since learned were different fucking universes. Right? Talking with people that I would later meet in the physical plane of existence. ex's ex. And I was like, I don't give a flying fuck about anybody's exes. Like, I didn't care. Oh, I didn't care. I was like, good, I'm glad you broke up. Next. Like, and it was turning me into a real bad saleswoman, okay? It was not gonna be good for the business if this was my vibe, right? I was like, kick him to the curb, right? Good. You should be glad they got cursed by somebody who wanted them because they were gonna fuck up your life. You know, it was like, I didn't care anymore. You know, it was like, because I was at such a different level. I had outgrown it. You know, and I did, but at the same time, I did still care about those people. I did still care about everyone that I knew was still out there that still needed that level of magic. I just knew it couldn't be me anymore because I'd seen too much. I'd done too much of it. By this point in time, I'd cast 10,000 spells. I'd done 3,000 psychic one-to-one sessions and readings. I had heard every fucking story so many times. I would sit, you guys, I'd sit. This is why. This is what happened to me. I would sit in my office and I would be on my 7th call of the week. And the person would start out a cadence and I'd be like, yep. And I could sit there and I could mouth what the person was going to say to me almost word for word because I'd heard the same story so many times. And I was burned out because I'd heard it over and over and over again. From the first 10 sentences that a client said to me, I knew what I was going to tell them that we were going to do at the end of the call. I was bored. And I was the best at everything that I did, but I was fucking bored, right? Like I was bored. And I've struggled with admitting that because I've been so afraid of hurting those people, but it's not that I was bored of them. I was like, all I wanted was to train people who could work with them. I wanted to train people who could, I wanted to inspire people to go out and monetize their magic the way that I had done and then be available for these people. I wanted to connect people with people that would have more energy and more space for these situations that were very real and that I really wanted these people to have help for, but it just couldn't be me anymore. You know what I mean? Like it just couldn't be me anymore doing it. Because I was so fucking bored. Because I'd heard everything so much. And then, you know, and then I'd finish this and I'd go downstairs, you know, and I would go back to doing, you know, this insane level of magic. And then I would repeat the cycle day after day after day after day. And it started feeling like Groundhog Day. And even sitting here, like, I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't be saying this. Like, everybody's going to judge me. Everybody's going to hate me. Like, everybody's going to be like, we knew she was a fake. You know what I mean? Like, I could only talk to 15 people a week. I just didn't have any more energy. You know, I maxed out at 60 to 75 spells a week. I couldn't do any more. And people needed so much more magic than I could do myself. Like, I'm only one person, you know? And I saw all these people who needed money and who had magic. And this happened not just on this planet. Like, I'm currently live recording something that I experienced across time and space. And I've watched this happen on 8 interplanetary locations now. The same people, the same stuff. I've lived it over and over and over, and I remember them all. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have the luxury of being like, wow, what? You know, it's just different versions of the same shit. And this is like the last one, though. I gotta blow my nose. You'll have to deal with it. This is my podcast. Oh, it feels amazing. And because being in those matrices, even though we built them ourselves, like, you don't fucking know what kind of a hell it is to be in your own matrix that you built yourself, that everybody's telling you should be happy in. And you should just appreciate what you've got, you know? And you're like, but I left something that wasn't draining me like this much. You know what I mean? Like, because nobody ever saw what it really did to us on the back end, right? Like, nobody saw what it was like to live that. Nobody saw what it was like to actually experience being, you know, the person who built these things, who this shit's insane. So anyways, at some point you have to recode your reality, and you will have to talk about stuff that you're afraid to talk about. But when you do it and nothing bad happens, even if something quote unquote bad does happen, even if somebody's like, oh, you're just, no, who cares? Because by the time you've done this, you're not going to give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, somebody could send me an email and like chew me up and down, and I'd be like, I probably wouldn't even see it, to be honest, because I don't check my email. Right? But honestly, like, say somebody sent me an Instagram message and I saw it, they were chewing me out. Like, I always knew you were whatever. I'd be like, no, you interpreted what I said to support what you've believed about me for a long time. And I don't think that's healthy for you. And I think you should stop letting me live rent free in your head. And I would block that person. That's what I would do. Because we don't have to be around each other. Like, you're not sitting in my living room. Like, you don't know me. Right? Like, and you don't have to. If you don't like me, like, don't listen to my shit. You know what I mean? I don't do this for you. I do this for the people who are like, yes. Right? And that's how I've just lived. That's how I was able to, leave the Matrix when I was 28. I was 29, technically. I had just turned 29. It was like 6 or 7 days after my 29th birthday. Yep. I think that does something to you too. I've seen a decent amount of us who got successful in the early, mid to late 20s, like it's somewhere in your 20s, right? And then what happens when you have that Saturn return and then you get your ass handed to you a few years later because you're like, well, I know why I did all that, but damn, now I've got to... How do you alchemize that? How do you alchemize that shit? Who the fuck's out there teaching that? Me? That's who I am. Went out and did it again just for the codes. Y'all, I did it for the codes. I did it for the data. Because I had done it when I was from professional belly dancer to professional witch. But I was nowhere near as successful as a belly dancer as I was as a witch, right? I didn't really build a global brand that got me interviewed by Newsweek as a belly dancer, right? But I did as a witch. Like, I knew everybody, right? I built a brand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did not go home. I went big, okay? From home. Though. That's why I didn't have to go home. I was already at home. Like, I went hard in my 20s, right? And really in my late 20s, which I'm about to repeat in my 30s. And I'm not doing this again in my 40s, okay? Like, I've had enough. I've done enough for the codes. Well, if I had to do it again, I'd just know what the fuck was going on this time, so it'd be fine. But really, I mean, I'd have all of this content from right now to guide myself through it in the future. So, see, I literally never have to do this again in this way. But at some point, whether you're just fresh leaving the Matrix, you're still in the Matrix, dreaming about the day you're going to leave it. Oh my gosh, I can't wait until I get my first person who's listening to me. If you're listening to me at a muggle job, particularly if you're in a cubicle and you're plotting your exit from the Matrix, I need you to come say hi somewhere, okay? I need to know. I need to cheer you. I need to send you some emojis or a GIF that's going to cheer you on, all right? Because, I have been there. I've been sitting in that cubicle listening to the podcast, plotting my exit, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I cannot wait. I can't wait, right? So as I'm saying all of this stuff, I'm actually shifting my entire reality. Every time I record an episode, every time I cry, every time whatever, right? I'm shifting from being the version of me I was to being the version of me that I've been becoming for the past few years. This is me coming out of the cocoon. It's like when Delin came out of a little alien human hybrid cocoon in Babylon 5. And she was like, what is happening? And they were like, you just need to take a shower, boo. And she was like, what the fuck's a shower? That was one of the best scenes ever, where she's like freaking the fuck out. And then I can't remember her name, but it was I can't remember her rank either, but she was like the second in command. Like, is that the lieutenant? I can't remember what the ranking system was on Babylon 5, but y'all know who I'm talking about. The brunette who was like, she was like the second in command. She was like, she was in everything. You know what I mean? Like, she ran that ship. She was like, they were like, yo, you need to go talk to Delin. I don't know what to do with this. All the men were like, we do not know what to do with this. And then she was like, oh, you just need to learn how to human. It's fine. It was great. Anyways, Delin's like my favorite character ever in sci-fi history. Just so everyone knows, and I think this probably explains more than a little bit about me, okay? Anyways, I'm very much a Delin myself, I think, personally. So anyways, as I'm talking about all of these things, I'm really anchoring in this new me, and I'm doing it in the way that I feel the most comfortable. I'm leaning into, it took me a minute to figure out, like, what is that going to be? I used to feel the most comfortable, and it was the easiest thing for me to point my video, my video camera, like it's 1999. Oh my gosh, I bet that's what happened in Orion. I bet we were like, bro, I wish I could have been a professional witch in 1999. And then we just like went out and can you imagine professional witchery, like the VHSs of professional witchery? Bro, should we do this? Should we all like VHS players? And should we just like make this happen on Earth? Like, I don't know, this could be a thing. Like, I'm just saying. If anybody launches a fucking VHS of their spells, I'll buy it just for the codes, okay? I'll get a VHS player. Don't threaten me with a good time. That's going to be aesthetic as fuck. I'm going to record content about it. And then it's going to be like contentception, okay? And then we'll link to your VHS. And somebody better go out and make a fucking witchcraft VHS and sell it. Okay? I've given you all of you should. I want a library of witchcraft VHSs. Let's do it. This is how this is very Rigelian and Orionid energy, okay?
That'd be so cool.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying, we could have like our own. In our house, we could literally take like one of the walk-in. We could have like a walk-in closet, like one of those, or like a small. Like, have you seen like those small rooms that people turn into like blockbusters?
No.
Oh my god, it's so cool! No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Why?
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah, they will literally like paint them like the inside of like a blockbuster, and they will get like the old wire fucking shelves, and they will put the movies on it like it's a blockbuster. Yeah. We gotta do it.
We gotta do
Witchery video. We've got to announce that. We've got to bring VHSs back, guys. Why have we got to bring VHSs back? Is streaming going down? Oh my god. What if it did though? What if it did? What would we do? VHS, DVD. I mean, what's happening here, people? I don't know. I don't do that kind of tech. I'm trying to inspire you if you do. Thank you. I'm going to hit the bong about it. I've said enough techie words now. I've got to tune into the portal lighter. I do portal technology and like theoretical interdimensional math. Okay, like I don't do like Samsung's stuff. I don't know. Oh, gotta hydrate, people. Anyways, so, as you're tuning into things, part of it is tuning into things like, how am I gonna, what is easy for me to do right now, right? It's not easy for me to record videos because I get really tired doing it these days because honestly, I've done so many. Like, there's over 100,000 pieces of media from my witchcraft career sitting on my phone. But I always have the energy to hit record and ramble. Right? Because I'm a manifestor in human design, so I'd have the defined throat center, and I process through conversation and talking out loud. So, like, if that's the case, and I've got a lot to process, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I had contact with over 20 different cosmic groups, collectives. Hi, baby. In a year, that was a lot. We went on this whole, southeastern quadrant of the United States gridding mission. This is after I had done a lower southwestern quadrant of the United States gridding mission solo when I was 26. Yeah, I was 26. And then I started Harvest Rose the next year. That's why I didn't start Harvest Rose in 2015 either. It was because I had to go on my solo gridding mission doing the lower southwest quadrant of the U.S. And then Michael and I did lower southeast or southeast quadrant. I don't know. It's interesting. There's a funky fluctuation in the atmosphere. So, when you are in the process of doing a reality recode, which is imperative for you to actually become the successful next version of yourself, right? You have to recode your reality. So I had to stop being the belly dancer to become successful, to fully, to fully become the version of me who was the professional witch, right? And I really leaned into that. And it's funny, this is really the time of year, I think, to do it. It's so funny because I really leaned into that transition about this time of year, which as I'm recording this, it's, Virgo season of 2025, and I'm a Virgo moon. So I don't know if your moon sign has anything to do with it, but I think it's just the time of year because I've seen so many people lean into an identity shift during Virgo season, and it really works out well. So I think that this is a fabulous time to do some reality recoding personally, right? And when you do this, it's about literally physically recoding your reality. Every time I record a piece of content with this as my focus, now, I'm doing an additional recode on my reality. You have to think about how big is your reality, and then how much are you going to have to recode that thing. And my reality was really fucking big, right? My reality was huge. It was huge. Okay. My reality was huge. So that might lead one to think that I've got a decent amount of reality recoding to do. And so I think also a lot of the time people judge themselves I recorded one episode that was different and I didn't see my entire reality shift. I should just go back to being the old me. I should just go back to the old offers. I should just go back to the old business. I should just whatever, right? Or even 10 or even 30 or even 50 or I'm going to be honest, even 100. There's 7,000 plus posts on my Instagram alone, not to mention all the ones that have been deleted that were time centric. So my group spells from back in the day were time based. So, we would just post about those until, that period of time. And then for a while, they stayed up. And then as I started shifting, the brand and the business, I just went in and cleaned up extraneous things like that and just left all of the content that was kind of more endlessly. I didn't want advertising content that was from 7 years ago, right? I didn't want someone sending me a message can I get this group spell, right? Didn't want to do that, right? So going and, kind of, that's also part of reality recoding too, is sometimes it's deleting things, right? So deleting things that are, Michael deleted a couple of his old songs from an old artist project that he was that he had prior to Ascended Frequencies. He did that like a while ago. And so sometimes that's like kind of like drawing a little bit of a line in the sand with yourself of like, this isn't who we are anymore. And it's not that there was anything wrong with that version of us. It's just not who we want to be known as now. Right? Because that's really what the whole concept is it's like, look, like, yeah, that was, that's who I was and that's what I was doing. But then I evolved. I phoenixed. I grew. I became a new me. Isn't that cool? Don't you want to know all about the new me now? We're fabulous.
Yeah.
Right? And part of that is highlighting for yourself how you're fabulous. And so you have to go out and you have to it's like you have to go on the fool's journey again. Anytime you start something new, you have to go out and you have to have those first, I've been working on, that was kind of my first thing was I was like, how the fuck do I talk about any of this stuff? And this was back in 2023. We had just started Witchery U. It was like just about this time in 2023. We were about to sell the house. And I had just come up with the idea for Monetize Your Magic. And I was working on putting that together. And I was like, how do I even talk about this stuff? Like, I didn't know how to talk about it. I knew how to do it all. I knew how to do it all, like, so well. I'd been doing it for years really, really well. And I was like, how do I talk about any of this stuff? And I had to be willing to just show up to my life every day and talk about it in some way. And I did a lot of that at the beginning on Threads because honestly, I could tell it was going to be a throwaway platform. I'm going to be honest. I knew that the fun little magical pocket of Threads was going to disappear less than 2 years in, and I was absolutely correct. So I just went into this fun little pocket dimension and I did some testing because we love a good experiment, right? And I just started showing up and talking about things in different ways that I thought were resonant, and I explored different avenues for myself in this very no pressure way because nobody knew who I was on there. Right? So on Instagram, it's like I maintained the Instagram the same way that I kind of always had. But on Threads, I was unhinged. I just said whatever the fuck I wanted, right? I just would get up in the morning and I would just I would anger thread, I would rant, I would just do whatever I wanted. I was writing. Because I was pissed off and I'm still pissed off because I saw a bunch of bullshit in my now previous profession, although I do still offer my Cosmic Royalty private clients are the only people who can purchase spell work from me now. Because that's just the way that it is. That's the contracts now, darling. But I'm teaching witchcraft and spell work and things in Luxury Witch Lifestyle and Coven of One, and even a little in the basic witchery tier of Witchery U. And we've got a la carte offers on the harvestrosewitchery.com website, which is www.harvestrosewitchery.com. Oh, I landed it! I'm going to applaud for myself. That was great. I was like, please give me a clean line read. Please give me a clean line read. Yes, yes, yes! Oh, it's great. I still think about things like that. I come up with little bits in my head. All the time. It's fun. I love it. It's part of my magic. What can I say? See, look at that. I'm over here like resisting what I naturally do. Like I worked for that theater degree for 5 years and I learned how to do this in improv class. Okay. Like I worked for this. 19-year-old Elena worked her ass off to be able to do this at 36. Okay. Like, thank you. I just didn't know what our stage was going to be. We just ended up with a very different stage than I thought we were going to. And I love that for us. That's great. Bong hit! So part of the magic too right now is I actually have the phone at such a height that I can't actually see how long I've been recording. I think it's around an hour. Yep, I just sat up and looked. It's around an hour. But I'm not sitting here focused on how long I'm recording. For years now, my entire content creation process has revolved around a timer, which is just an additional level of a time matrix, right? Whether it was, back in the day with like IGTV, if you remember IGTV, I think we need to have t-shirts made that say something funny, but I don't have a funny thing to say right. Wild, wild west days of the internet. I don't know. No, we gotta come up with something fun for that. Maybe it's just a pair of boots and like a TV screen. I'm not sure. Something fun to like commemorate. Like I was there. But those were fabulous days because, you could post like a 15-minute long video and that was great. It was really fabulous because I was doing a lot of much larger group spells at that moment in time. And I had honed my marketing and my strategy behind that. I had really honed in on what people wanted to buy. I had attracted a group of clients who wanted to buy both the group spells and the one-to-one spell work. So it was really flowing and glowing and everything was fabulous. And so, but I would often have like a minimum of 8 participants in every group spell, up to like 17 participants in one group spell, which I wanted to give everybody, I would literally, I'd kind of do like the altar update would be more like general, and that one might be like 5 minutes long or so. But for the wax reports, I did wax readings for every single one of my clients in those group spells. And I liked those people to get at minimum, like 45 to 60 seconds of information about how their spell had burned and what I could see in the wax and things, because I was very well known for my wax readings. So that also attracted a lot of clients to work with me because of the level of information that I could access through the images that I could see in the wax. It was really cool. And if you're interested in seeing any of those, they're all still on my Instagram. And at some point in time, I think like we just need to make like witchcraft TV, like spellcasting TV. Like I think that being able to see the altar updates and the wax reports and all of that, like somewhere would be really, really fabulous for people. And I think there's still so much value in the old content that I have. And some of it is like, there were nights that I recorded 2 or 3 hours of content a night. And I did this for years. That's one of the reasons too, like it's so funny. Like sometimes people who don't have the level of content creation under their belt that I do, like they're like, you can record so much, like it blows my mind. And I'm like, yeah, but on a weekly like basis for 8 years now, because I started recording this level of content in 2017. So 8 years ago now. For 8 years now, I've been recording an average of probably 10 hours of content a week minimum. And you have to remember, I used to talk to 10 to 15 people a week, and I don't anymore. So now I have all that free time for content creation or for painting, whatever I want to do. So it's like, I already have like, it's just kind of a muscle that I've built. The defined throat definitely helps, but I just always have the ability to talk about my work. And that's another thing I've been stopping myself from doing, is recording as much as I want to. Right. And then I tune into how much I naturally used to record. And part of that is because people have honestly already people comment a decent amount about, oh, you record so much. And it's like, yes, that's my job. That's what I get paid for that. And I'm like, yes, I do. That's literally how I create my content right now. So that's why I do it. That's what I'm creating. That's what I'm getting paid for now, right? But that's what I was getting paid for before. I was getting paid to create the stuff that I was creating based on the work that I was doing. That was kind of part of it because I had built that into my reality, right? But also the videos were not actually part of what people were paying for. People were only paying for the spell, and the videos were my marketing strategy. And they loved it. Like my clients loved the videos. Like it very much surprised me, right? So I feel like, and I feel like getting to talk that much about my work, that was what coded my reality to the level that it did so quickly, was talking so much about, every single spell that I did got an altar update recorded about it, got a wax report recorded about it. That's an average of 6 minutes of content per per like altar update. So it could have been multiple spells, but typically if it had been more than like, if it was like a much bigger altar update, it easily could have been like 10, 20 minutes of content on that. Or if it was a more involved one, like some people, I got a lot of information in those wax reports, and some people it was like, it burned well, there's nothing really here, like everything's good, let's move right along, and some people it was like, we got all the tea and a side of crumpets and a side of cucumber sandwiches and some chocolate chip cookies and an entire brisket delivered to the table with that wax report. And I would be sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, I've had wax reports that were like 15 minutes long before, just because of all the stuff I was picking up from it, and so it's like, that was just very normal to me. So, I mean, I think it's likely that if we were to review how much content I was creating back in the day with all of the altar updates and wax reports, plus you have to remember that I did weekly Tarot Tuesdays. I did face to the camera videos usually every week minimum. I also did a lot more videos in my stories talking to the camera, like face to the camera videos in my stories. I did that pretty much every single day. I was recording content like pretty much every single day. And all the calls. And I was a lot more social. I went out a lot. And I was also, for a lot of this time, teaching. I was teaching classes. I was recording meditations. I was recording audio transmissions, whatever. We did products as well. I had employee to employees. And I hosted a weekly live stream show in the middle of this. And I would occasionally appear as like a podcast guest or whatever, right? So it's just normal to me. Like I've just got an immense amount of content creation already under my belt. I know what I'm doing. It's very easy for me. It flows. I hit record. I'm ready to go. I just have to have a medium that works for me in a way that works for me. And so that's why I'm now just really leaning into like, if I want to record for an hour and a half, that's pretty normal for me. I'm going to be honest. And if people don't want to listen to it, that's fine. Because for every single person that's like, ugh, that's too long, there's like 5 people that listen to everything that I put out like 5 or 10 times each. I'm not kidding. They do. And I love it. Like, because they're like, they get something new every single time that they listen to it. Some people just like to have my voice on in the background because it like comforts them apparently. And I love that. I'm like, I love that. That's fabulous. I'm so glad. I would love to bring comfort to the entire world. So if my voice rambling on about things brings comfort to people, I adore that. That's why I'm doing this. That's what I'm doing here. Right. So yeah. A huge part of like the work I'm doing for myself right now is letting myself not pay attention to the clock on the screen, not know how long the recording is going, trusting that it will absolutely find the right people. And also knowing that we can always, sometimes I have periods of time where I don't want to record as much or I'm not as inspired or whatever. If that happens again, also knowing that I've got these fabulous assets that Michael can go into and clip 20 minutes from, and we can release a new episode. And maybe somebody who didn't listen to that hour and 30 minute long, situation will listen to the 20-minute episode. Well, that just, even if I have lots of content that I'm releasing, we can still do that if we want to at some point, if we have that level of energy. If not, we can just do this right now, but maybe in 2 or 3 years, we're like, oh, let's go back and chop up some of those really longer, things that I was talking about in 2025, turn those into, turn every single, 3-hour-long extravaganza into like 5 shorter podcast episodes, redistribute them on Multidimensional Baddie because, everyone's finally seen the light. And then it's like, or, whatever, cross-pollinate in some way, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, it's just a little snippet, and then it's like, if you want to hear the entire episode, and maybe we only take 20 minutes from all of these episodes, and then it's like, if you want to hear the whole episode, go over here, and you can listen to the original recording at the, link below, and then we just, kind of do that, or, we could even do blogs with that, right? So many options here, right? So every single time I'm doing one of these recordings as well, I'm creating an asset. That's the thing, is like, you have to remember, I'm used to flash in the pan content. I was used to that level of content creation because we had to be. That's what people aren't understanding who are kind of newer to like the online business sphere of reality. The level of content that we all had to create in 2018 was insane. Okay. And you had to be everywhere, and it worked, but it was also kind of exhausting. Right. And so now it's about just kind of letting ourselves do whatever the fuck we want. And if you're newer to the game and you don't have, you don't remember what that's like because you weren't there, I'm so glad. Just let it be easier than you think it has to be. And just let yourself do what you want, because you're creating assets now, right? We're not doing, that's the thing I've noticed, this 24-hour turnaround content. That's the issue. Is like all of the content in these shorter form capacities is designed to be quickly ingested. They're on your video for 0.2 seconds and they scroll on, and it's all these people in these scroll holes. People in scroll holes are not your dream clients. Okay? So why would you be on platforms that are hosting hordes of not your dream clients? Do you get in a scroll hole? If the answer is no, which I'm assuming if you're an hour and 16 minutes into a podcast, you might occasionally, I do a little bit of scroll holing, just a little as a treat. But I don't tend to buy a lot of stuff from that. I'm going to be real, right? That's just like, oh, has anything changed? Nope, I got to get off this. Okay. And that's like the cadence for me at this point in time, right? And we used to absolutely find people to connect with via scrolling. And that's why we still do it. We're looking for connection. It's kind of sad when you put it like that, right? Because we remember when you could scroll down your Instagram feed and you could find your next favorite person to follow. And now it's like the explore page is just a black hole of the ick. It's all bad. And we remember that. But we've got to find new ways of connection and new ways of expression and things like that too. So that's part of this as well, is just letting myself do that, and then letting myself understand that this is going to be, everything that I'm talking about right now. I'm kind of early. I'm always early to the party, interdimensionally. I like to just show up and kind of get the lay of the land. That's right, Mira. But like, I know that over the next, really like 5 to 10 years, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying right now, while it might be early for the majority of people at this exact moment in time, I'm also creating an asset that in 3 years, somebody not me could utilize to, maybe there's a brand new platform. Maybe there's always something new. We're just in the lull between I'm done with that shit and what is new, right? We're in the liminal space. So when you're in that liminal space, though, it's really about tuning into new ways of creating things that are not this very overnight sensation type of situation, and instead tuning into creating assets that can be used in a variety of ways, right? I mean, thinking about the fact that we can watch Bob Ross painting on YouTube, right? He created shows that were assets that are later being, that's something to Google if you want a story. That surprised us. I'm not going to get into that here, but wow, that's some dirty shit. Not Bob Ross himself, fabulous, but what happened with Bob Ross's work and the stuff behind that, wow, that was a sordid tale. But those shows were created decades ago, right? And you'll see they have Bob Ross Live on the weekend on the Bob Ross channel, right? And there'll be, 3,000 people at once watching this show that was created 50 years ago, 40 years ago, right? your work could still be being listened to in 50 years. And so it's time to act like it. And it's time to create like it, right? Like it's really time to start creating. And then if you want to take those assets and you want to do other things with them, you want to turn them into shorter little pockets of like, oh, I talked about one thing here for this 8 minutes, so I'm going to take that and put that on my YouTube, or I want to do this with this, or I want to do this with this. Yes, right? But you don't ultimately have to. It's an option that you can also do that when you want to. And then this is also a great thing for people who don't. I constantly have a lot to say, and I'm aware of that. Not everyone does. If you're one of those people who sometimes has things to say and then sometimes doesn't have as much to say, this is a great strategy for you. When you're unhinged and you've got a lot of stuff to say, and I know it happens, right? Start recording and go balls to the wall. Just let yourself do the thing. And then take a look at what you can do with that asset that you've just created and let yourself revisit and return to that asset as part of the body of your work over and over and over again. I've included my Hecate masterclasses in so many different things. Right? I recorded them for Divine Deities, which was one of my memberships in 2018. I never expected when I was doing that, it was literally just the content for the month. I didn't expect to do anything else with it. And it was so just, it's got such a fabulous energy that I've sold it by itself. I've included it in memberships. I've included it in bundles. I've done all kinds of different stuff with that little bundle that I created just really kind of randomly from that one-off month in that one membership that I was doing in 2018, right? And it was, that's probably one of the things that really shifted my perspective of like, wow, there's a completely different way that we should be creating, no matter what your specialty and your focus is in, right? That is just a completely different way than we've been taught, because this constant, continuous, just, you're basically some of these people that I see have been saying the same thing in brand new live programs for a fucking decade now. And I'm like, you have got to be so bored. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be so bored. And then inevitably, at some point in time, you see them take a step back from their brand. Start over. Try something new. And it's because they got bored, right? And they weren't allowed to evolve. But if anybody had just told these people 10 fucking years ago, I also just think about all the creative energy that has been stored up in people, that's caused people to gain weight, that's caused people to have, like, get stuck energy related, like, health issues. Like, I have a lot of chronic pain that literally comes from stuck energy. And then I release the energy and then the chronic pain starts to improve, right? So that's also part of the reason for my reality recoding right now and all of the recording that I'm doing with that is because I've noticed that just not expressing myself causes physical pain. So why would I do that to myself? That's silly. So yeah, I just, so many people, I think so many people have had their creative senses so stunted by that business matrix that was, in place. And particularly people who had very successful businesses, I would say between the years of 2015 to 2025, right? People who really took off during that era. I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of very stuck creative energy. And we need to find new ways to express that. And part of that is not having to say the same fucking thing on a live stream every 3 months for your launch, not having to keep the same brand narrative alive year after year after year, not having to just say and do the same program over and over and over again because you have to launch the same thing like 12 million times because that's what that one mentor that told you to do that got you successful. So you should just keep listening to what they said a fucking decade ago, right? Like, it's still gonna work, right? But you're miserable. No, don't do that. It's a trap. Don't do that. Don't do that. There's a better way. And that comes through you being fully expressed. That comes through you actually being able to create all the things that you want to. Who gives a flying fuck if it's not according to someone else's creative schedule? Good, it's not theirs. They should butt the fuck out. Get out of my creative schedule. Who cares if you think I do too much? Who cares if you think I do not enough? It's not yours. You shouldn't have an opinion on that. Stay in your lane. A lot of people need to learn the concept. Staying in their lane. And they haven't. And I think it's because, honestly, like the burnout that happened from the generation of us that got successful, that then should have turned around and started leading the people who were going to create these COVID businesses. We got so burned out from because let's talk about that generation of business coaches that were already feeding off of all of us. And I say that on purpose. Between the years of, say, 2012, I'm hearing, to 2025. But really thinking, like, going further back, like, I'm thinking people who were already big name business coaches in 2018, 2019. That era. Yeah, I'm talking to some of you real specifically. You know who I'm talking about. 2017. Oh, yeah. All those sponsored posts, all the money that was flying around, all the dude bro insurance, you know, former maitre d' turned millionaire. Bros. Masquerading as woo. I mean, can we stop, please? You're literally so cringe. I can't handle it. Okay. Yeah, they and the women that were right there along with it. It was not just the bros. It was the genders were all represented. Okay. They were all in there. They were all fucking with our heads. They were all telling us that we weren't doing XYZ, and it was all a bunch of bullshit. And they are the people who put the people who were coming to them to grow and scale our brands and our businesses. They're who really started putting these concepts that ended up turning into like the stuff that completely killed creativity and like expression of an individual as a actual person. Like, I don't know what the hell they actually did to us, I'm going to be honest, but it was bad. It was bad, you guys. It was bad. And I don't know what they had on their shit. I don't know what they had on their master classes that they were putting out for free, but it was not good magic. I'm going to be honest. It was straight up fucking evil magic. Okay? So that's just something to be aware of. That very much is real. And if you have been someone who's encountered that, I completely understand what that's like. And part of my work is to help deprogram that and reprogram your source-coded creative flow back into your reality. So part of my work is focused on that as well. I don't know what the hell that was. I can't even, like, I hadn't even really thought about that in a minute, but there was so much. I mean, and it was just everywhere. Like, it wasn't like we went looking for it. It was in the sponsored ads. Like, you know, you're just scrolling around and it's everywhere. And then it starts to seep into your brain. Well, I'm not creating in this way, so I'm not a millionaire yet, so I want to be a millionaire. So, like, I want to make $1 million with my magic. So, like, do I need to create like them? Do I need to create like they're telling me to create? Do I need to do things like they're telling me I need to do them? You know? And in the old grid, it was very easy to go down that rabbit hole when you saw it enough. And I think that there were so many people who were just legitimately wanting to scale their brands because they wanted to reach more people. They wanted to help more people. They wanted to, you know, I think a lot of us had like a very naive, you know, kind of wanted to save the world energy for sure, but with very honestly good intentions. And it was like so many people were just out there really taking advantage of that. And then it's like siphoning that creative energy. Like, I legitimately believe that these are like very high level energy vampires who were siphoning financial and creative energy at the same time. And I think that's why also you'll hear me talk a lot about how this stuff codes back to like the business and financial matrices of Hydra and Lyra. And that would explain the financial with Hydra and the creative with Lyra. Oh shit. We just uncovered some shit live right now. Oh my gosh. Holy crap, you guys. I just remembered the witchcraft VHS idea. I forgot I took an edible. I always do this. I always forget I had an edible. That's why my scalp feels tingly. Love it. It's a very lightweight one, so it's like, It's just like vibing. But anyways, yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm recoding my reality, and you can too. I'm kind of getting tired because I have been recording. I've recorded for 4 hours today. But think about all of the reality recoding that I've done with that 4 hours of recording. And just for my own self, right? When you speak, your words vibrate inside of your skull. And then that actually tunes the entire rest of your vessel by speaking. That's how you recode reality, right? So when you speak a new truth, when you speak new ways, when you speak new information, when you speak about new parts of your reality that you're creating, about new ways to interact with you in this reality, right? That is vibrating and resonating inside of your skull, and then it's resonating every other aspect of your being on the physical plane of existence on Earth. But then, how is that resonating out in the quantum field with all of you across time and space and beyond, right? So don't underestimate the power of your voice is like the point of this message, right? Because when you dare to speak your truth out loud, you actually do change the world just by changing, because I literally just explained it, right? I'm changing my own resonance through my speech. And when I change my resonance, I'm changing my frequency, changing my baseline frequency, right? My baseline vibration is shifting because of the words coming out of my mouth, because these words are resonating in my skull and then resonating in the rest of my vessel, because this is a vibration. I'm creating a vibration with every word that I speak. So when I don't speak, I'm not doing that, right? But when I do speak, I'm completely shifting everything. So I think this is also why there's been such a silencing attempt on so many people, why they don't want to speak out loud. They don't want to record themselves. They don't want to be heard. Because that's stopping you from changing your base vibration, which is going to tune you into the timelines, the contracts, the clients, the success, the peace, the joy, the love, the magic, all the things, right? When you speak it out loud. I used to talk to Michael out loud all the time. I had no clue who Michael was. I just knew he existed. I talked out loud to him all the fucking time, just like I would if he was on the physical plane of existence, because I was determined that one day, by me doing that, I'd get to talk to him on the physical plane of existence. And you guys, it worked, right? So you can do that with anything. You just have to have the balls to speak it out loud. And a lot, right? This is why in Unlock Your Magic, I ask you, what do you want to get up and talk about every day? If you don't want to get up and talk about the thing that you're trying to sell, you're not going to, your life's not going to flow very well, and it's not going to be effortless to create content, and it's going to feel like work, and it's going to feel like a job, right? But if you want to get up and talk about what you're talking about every day, you're going to be able to get up and recode your reality every single day with this magic and with this perspective and with these things that you have to say and with your knowledge and with all of this. Yeah. Pretty cool, really. Yeah. On that note, let's do a bong hit. And I'm going to bring this one to a close because I'm getting tired. Michael's tired. The laundry's done downstairs. And it's after 5. So we're going to go vibe. Woohoo!
Hey.
Oh. Is a 5 p.m. nap the vibe? Hold on. That feels like a vibe. Michael yawns. Huh?
It's 6 p.m.
6 p.m.?
It's 5:50.
Oh, I thought that said 5:10. 6 p.m. nap sounds even better. Wow. Let's have a bong hit to celebrate, and then we're going to go take a 6 p.m. nap. Yay. Oh, that sounds great. I mean, I've done plenty of work today. I do not need to do any more. Woo, woo. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite little hacks, okay? Every day, I want you to tell yourself that you have done more than enough work to get paid that day. But I want you to be able to mean it, okay? So if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I haven't done anything today. What could you do right now in the next 30 minutes that would equal that, right? Could you record something in the next 8 minutes that could equal a payment today, right? And then I want you to look at your reality and ask yourself, have you set up your reality to receive this? So like, I've got a whole shop at www.harvestrosewitchery.com. I want y'all to know, whenever I do shit like that, most of the time, like, I do want to inform you where you can go to get more of this fabulosity, but also I'm just doing it to do it, because I do it for the bit. It's like, I am so committed to the bit. I'm always committed to the bit. So, you know, we've got tons of a la carte offers on, that's been a big transition from I to we. Talk about that one in a different episode, but that's been a big transition, right? I was single for many years before Michael and I got together, and so that's been a huge identity shift as well. But yeah, you know, but it's part of that. It's not really like, it's honestly not very dramatic. It's just been like a slow transition that he's been very supportive of like me shifting over from being like hyper independent I to like, you know, oh yeah, it's we now, I manifested it, it's we, woohoo, right? So, but I still catch myself all the time, like when I really mean we. And so I like just correct myself a little bit because I'm recoding my reality. Oh, you see what I did there? You can recode your reality about anything. Okay. Anything at all. You just have to believe and you just have to speak it out loud. That's it. So, yeah. You know, we've got the entire store on the website. We've also got all of Witchery U, which I posted at midnight. Actually, it was at 12:04. The first one was at 12:02, but then I realized I had posted the wrong version of the blue flower. So we have the blue flower that's just the WU logo. And then we have the blue flower the blue rose with the crossed keys, and then the WU version of the logo. And I just wanted to do the WU version of the logo on Instagram because I was kind of doing this like, if I don't want to post on Instagram, and again, I'm not gonna, to be honest, because it's clearly directing you where to go if you are curious about like what I'm up to. And otherwise, like, I just really want to focus on the podcast and the website right now. I've realized I did 31 Instagram posts last week. Well, not posts in general, but it was posts, reels, and stories. I did 31 pieces of content on Instagram last week. And I was like, what if I had just done that on the website? Like, what if I had just done that on the website? So you know what I've decided? I'm going to take a couple days and I'm going to kind of tune into that. Just give myself a couple days because it's Thursdays of this. And I don't like to do a lot on Freya's day, you know. Maybe on Saturday I like to do some stuff on Saturdays, but really, like, I'm thinking, like, I want to tune into, like, a strategy. I love a good strategy. And then, and then, like, I want to start making, like, I want to have, like, posts that we do on the website, right? But I just want to give myself a little bit of time to, like, kind of percolate on the idea. And then I want to make posts on the website like it's social media. But, like, how I want social media to be. But it's just going to be my blog. Yeah. And then I'm going to try that. And I'm just going to see, like, now, obviously, I do have already more people who actively know me on Instagram than on my blog right now. So I'm not expecting, like, exact results, but I'm you know, in, like, just a week time. But I'm going to start, you know, kind of exploring this strategy and then see what that's like and what the results are like, what the sales are like, you know, because I feel like we're going to end up with more aligned people who are automatically interested in what we're doing and want more. And that's just really what I want from the people who are consuming my content. I want you to be interested in what I'm doing, and I want you to want more. And if that's the next podcast episode, that's great. If that's joining, you know, some aspect of Witchery U, I felt a cough coming up. If that's joining some aspect of Witchery U, I'm releasing some shit right now. If that's joining an aspect of Witchery U, to say it for the third time. Oh yeah, I had to do it because of all the urban legends about saying shit 3 times. I had to do it. It was just, I did it again for the bit. So, you know, if that's, you know, seeing what we've got going on the blog, if we've got something going on by then, if that's tuning into one of my other podcasts, if that's tuning into Ascended Frequencies on any of your favorite streaming platforms. See, we sponsor ourselves. We do so much, we sponsor ourselves. You know, if that's going and checking out some of the stuff you've heard me talk about from the archives on my Instagram page right now, that is Harvest Rose Witchery on Instagram. You know, whatever that is, I just, you know, whether that, you know, whatever it is, you know, I just hope that you are, you know, I want to connect with people who are aligned and who want more. That's the vibe. So, when you've got your reality set up that you can receive in whatever way it is, it could be, you know, you've got one offer. I have a lot of offers. I have a large business and brand at this point in time because Harvest Rose Witchery turned 9 this year. And I started creating, I wrote my first course 8 years ago. So I've been doing this for a long time. So you don't have to have the level of stuff that I do. You could have one offer for one thing that costs any price, right? And I just want you to tune into starting to manifest sales of that. And that's just aligning to the timeline where you're selling that. That's what manifestation is. It's aligning to the timeline, which means tuning your frequency to be in resonance with that timeline. You have to tune your frequency to be in resonance with the timeline, to manifest the timeline, to then live the timeline. That's how this works. Okay, I've just given you a masterclass in manifestation. Thank you very much. It's very simple. It's very simple. So when you lost my train of thought because I heard a weird noise outside, TBH. Hold on, I've just got to amend some vibes. Oh, good. I think we're by ourselves again. I can't wait. See, I cannot wait to tune my frequency to the timeline of us with our house. Yeah. I'm very excited about that. You can do it for anything. I don't remember what I was saying. Do you remember what I was saying?
You just did a manifestation little mini class.
I did say that.
Tuning yourself to the timeline.
Yeah.
That you want to
What was
be
before
on.
that?
It was about sales. It was about tuning into your sales. Before that, it was about the website, the blog. The ideas.
Oh, yeah. So I just want you, whatever it is that you've got for sale. And if you don't have something for sale, I want you to have something for sale. So I want you to tune into that. And if you need some help with that, I've got some stuff on the podcasts. There's stuff on the Multidimensional Baddie podcast. There's stuff on my YouTube. There's stuff in the basic witchery tier of Witchery U. There's stuff on the store of the Harvest Rose Witchery website. I've already created a lot of things about that. Okay. And then I want you to just go out and I want you to do something like every day to just spread that magic in the world, to some way code your reality, to I have done something to code my magic into reality. And now I'm going to receive compensation for that. And every day I want you to have that be your attitude, right? Michael is working in a completely different way than I am. But Michael randomly found out that, like, he thought he had, like, $3 from streaming in his account, and he had, like, $83 in his account from streaming. Right? And I want him to really lean into more of that. Like, randomly, people will just buy a frequency. Really randomly. People will just buy a frequency. We don't even ever, we never really know why, and sometimes we don't even know where they come from. And it's great. We love it, right? But he's like very hands off in all the ways that he manifests money. He's very hands off with it. Like he literally creates it. And then he has a platform to sell frequencies and bundles and whatever he wants to create in that sphere of reality via Harvest Rose Witchery because he works with me. So that's just part of it. And so I want him to tune in more to that. Right? I want him to tune into like the money's just coming in and I don't even, you don't even know where it's from. You don't have to do anything else. You're just tuning into more people are streaming that daily chakra activation. More people are listening to the rose quartz frequency. More people are listening to, what are the frequencies that you can create? I'm just randomly coaching Michael on this. What are the frequencies that you can create? Every day, can you get up and create and release a frequency on all of these streaming platforms that's going to be, that exact thing that you can just manifest that more people find and get to listen to, and what is going to shift the script the most, what's going to bring the most magic to them. And that's the order you should go out and create it. If you think the most people need XYZ, go out and create XYZ, not, PRQ. Right? I came up with that one on the fly. I'm pretty impressed with that one. I was like, wow, impressive. Good job. Especially after your edibles already hit. Damn, bitch. But this is my vibe because, I even wrote this like years ago. I wrote that like I used to write business plans for people at the club. And that's very much like the vibe that I wanted to tune into was like, I'm always writing business plans for people at the club. Cause like, I'm always vibing, it's like, I always feel like I'm at the club, like I'm at the couch club, the Cosmic Couch Club. Hi, welcome to the Cosmic Couch Club.
Hey.
That's my vibe, yo. That's gotta be in Remember Your Syrian Healing Training. It's gotta be, hi, welcome to the Cosmic Couch Club. And that's just gonna be the name of the grid. It's gonna be, hi, welcome to the Cosmic Couch Club. That's gonna be the name of this episode. Hi, welcome to the Cosmic Couch Club. You're gonna find out why it's named that an hour and 47 minutes in. That's iconic as fuck, whatever. And there's that little voice like, this is too long and everybody's gonna judge you. Fine. The people who love me are going to love me. And the people who don't hate us because they ain't us. Thank you. Anyways, celebratory bong hit. I have listened to stuff. Just hit pause. Hit pause. Go back. Pick me up later. Listen to me for 10 minutes. For a week straight. I don't care. You don't have to sit down and listen to me all at once. My gosh. Listen to me at your leisure. Use me like an oracle. You know what I mean? Wow, that'd be the first time. Randomly just scroll to a podcast episode, hit play, scroll to a random part, start listening. I'm there with your message. Oh my gosh, if you all don't do that and tell me about it, I'm going to be just interdimensionally ouch at every single one of you. Okay. So you got to do that now. All right. You got to try it. It's going to be really fun. At least try it one time for me and just see if I deliver you the message you need to hear. Cause I'm now reality subcoding all of my content to do that. You can do that wherever you want. You're going to find that you can just hit play on all my content, go to a random part and wait for the first sentence and that, or maybe it's right when you start it. Maybe I say like a random ass word and it doesn't even make any sense, but it's going to make sense. Okay. Just watch. It's going to work. Arya's going to do her thing. We're going to really start testing Arya. Can Arya my content into people getting oracular messages from me? This is some Oracle of Delphi shit. Smoke questionable herbs, forget your edibles hit, and then be like, all right, everybody, you're all going to get oracular messages from my content from 7 years ago. Go, see what I got to say. Come back and tell me. I probably forgot I said it. I'm going to be like, damn, that bitch spitting. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like chaos oracling. This is the best idea ever. We got to work this into the brand. This is one of our new brand pillars, and it is the Chaos Oracle. Hi, I'm the Chaos Oracle. Is that taken? Because if not, it's moi. Thank you. I'm going to teach you the most chaotic way to get the best messages from me. It's absolutely through working with all of my content across time and space. I do that with myself, though. I've literally gone to parts of... Is it taken? Is someone else already the Chaos Oracle? I can refer to myself however I want. I'm not calling myself that in my business. Just in case it is. Real quick, as I'm saying.
Someone on X has got a name.
Whatever. Anyways.
That's about it, though. There's the closest thing that you got is oracleofchaos.com. That's about it. That's an actual website. The Chaos Oracle is literally just someone created an account.
When was the last time they posted? I mean, I'm not trying to use it for anything right now, but...
They joined June 2025, and it says that they haven't posted.
Oh.
They just have...
Oh. Well, anyways, that's cool for them. Anyways, I can call myself that if I want to.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so like just, I've done that with my, like, I love to open up Luxury Witch Lifestyle because we've got the Luxury Witch Library in there and we've got all of the articles that I've written and I just pick random shit sometimes. And then I'll literally close my eyes and I'll scroll and then I'll like poke the phone and then I'm like, oh, I picked one, okay, and then I like scroll down and then I just like I'll close my eyes and I'll just scroll a little bit, or I do that with the cosmic transmissions too. Those are in the quad in the basic witchery tier of Witchery U, and I've done that especially with like the Arcturian transmission a lot. It's one of my favorite things is like I open up the Arcturian transmission and then I just randomly scroll down it with my eyes closed and then I'll hear like stop scrolling and I'm like okay, and then yeah, I like chaos mode myself and then I read my own transmission that I channeled and wrote like a couple years ago as my message. So I'm just saying there's a lot of content of mine out there that you can try this with. I think you should go out and try it. I think I've got some messages, for you. If you're hearing this, just pick something random. The randomer, the better. Okay, let's have a celebration hit, and then I'm gonna go rest because I'm tired and we need a nap. Mm-hmm. We might be in our 30s in this incarnational experience, but we're very old across time and space. They know us there. Yeah. We're big across time and space. They love us there. It's great. Oh, yeah. So just when you've done something, I never finished my thought. I've got to finish my thought before I can hit the fucking bong. When you've done something, when you've recorded something, when you've made a post somewhere, when you've in some way, when you've released a frequency, when you've done something, whatever it is, right? Like, it might take you 20 or 30 minutes. Like, it would literally take Michael like 20 minutes, maybe a day, maybe 30 with branding. Definitely within 45 minutes a day, he could get one frequency a day released.
Yeah. Right?
So for 45 minutes a day, right? All he has to do is show up for 45 minutes a day. And then when he does that, I want you to try this. I want you to try this for 1 week. We're going to try it for 1 week. 1 week. This is my favorite strategy. Try it for 1 week. And then if you want to continue 3 more weeks to try it for a month, go ahead and do that. And then if you want to work that into your reality, go ahead and do that. And then if you want to pivot after that 1 week, you can pivot after that 1 week. If you're like, I'm just not vibing with this. If you're not vibing with it after one day, pivot right then, right? But try something when you find something that you think is going to be aligned. Try it for a week, right? Just a few days. Maybe you don't even count the days. Maybe you're just like, I'm going to try this for a few days. And if you like it, try it for a few more days. And then if you like it still and you start seeing results from it and you start seeing like, oh, my numbers on Spotify are going up. Therefore, my listens are going up. Therefore, my passive income is going up. Oh, my website views are going up. And then people have randomly started to join my memberships. And, I'm getting more passive a la carte sales on my website. Or, whatever, I'm recording podcasts and then I'm putting those out and then people are listening to those. And then as people listen to those, I'm finding that, more people are joining Witchery U or shopping a la carte on my website, whatever. Or my blog views then start going up and then my YouTube views start going up. And then it's like everything kind of whatever you've got in there generally will all kind of start to rise together. And that might look like a few different platforms like I just mentioned, or like Michael's released on like 250 plus different streaming platforms, right? And he can see analytics from a handful of those.
Less. Like we're talking like 3.
He can see analytics from 3 of those. So
YouTube is one of them.
Yeah. So he doesn't know a lot about where a lot of stuff is coming from.
Tidal is paying the most.
Tidal is paying the most.
$45 on Tidal within less, like it was like, I think 2,000 streams.
Wow.
Give or take. Yeah.
And then so how
Tidal
do you...
Tidal actually pays like, I know this is like literal pennies, but in comparison to everything else, it pays double than anything else.
Wow.
I get like literally a penny, like 0.14. Spotify is 0.07, so half of a penny.
Half of a penny, people.
That's not even per stream, and on top of that, that's not even guaranteed every time. It's different depending on the listener from what country.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tidal I've made like all just from last month. It was like, and we're just getting started.
So then an additional thing that I would recommend, because the
Stream
predominant
on Tidal, not Spotify.
because the predominant, well, now I got to get Tidal, damn. But the predominant, so what you're hearing, right, is that like ascended frequencies, just through streaming, it's not that it can never make a ton of money. It's just that we're talking about, kind of micro increments here, financially.
Yeah. And then growing over time.
Yes, absolutely. But then what you would want to work in here is like, so when people like you, they will Google you, right? So then one thing that we would want to do, we have a lot of different options for, different frequencies people can buy, as well as bundles and stuff, for ascended frequencies on the website. We would probably want to focus a little bit more on adding to that, right? Just more frequencies, more options, but then also, working in ways for people to, when they Google ascended frequencies, they're led straight to the website, right? And then they can see how they can buy stuff that would support your work, because I'm going to be honest, people, streaming is not necessarily the most lucrative offer that could ever be designed for an artist or a musician.
It's not.
But even like, for example, we have Ascended Freaks in the basic Witchery tier of Witchery U. And that is kind of foundational library of ascended frequencies. Would you like to tell us what it is real quick?
Currently, I mean, it's still just
tell us what it is right now.
It's an organized public library of all the frequencies.
We got an organized library of all of the public frequencies, and then, so we've got that. So, subscribing to the basic Witchery tier, you get like all of the basic Witchery spaces. It's like right now there's 5 spaces that you get, but we're about to add business basics, which is 6th, and then there's a couple of others that I want to do too. So it's a really fabulous like foundational introduction to both mine and Michael's work, and supports us both, right? Yeah. And then people can also they find your work and they can but they find your work and and then they're like, oh, I want to buy a frequency, oh, I want to get something, I want to get something else, right? And so I would also, want to see you exploring more of how you can highlight that, because thinking about like, oh, somebody finds you on one of these streaming platforms and they want to know more, or they want to, they're like, how can I support them, right? And then they're Googling, and then how can they find you, and what are they going to find? And, those are things to think about, right? So anyways, that would be like a, starting to scale, right? He's seeing some success with what he's doing, but then we want to add more to that in ways that work for him. So having things that people can completely passively buy on the website is, a fabulous idea for that. And then we just want to create more visibility and ways for people to find that and find the rest of his work, right? And then mine at the same time, because we work together. So then, but when you've done that, right? Literally, here's what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about 90 minutes of work total. So he takes 45 minutes and he makes a frequency and he puts that out on his distributing platforms, right? He also uploads that to YouTube. Because he took the exact same branding that he's going to use to put that out on the distributing platforms. He resized it in Canva to be a YouTube photo, and he's just going to upload that to his YouTube channel, right? So he hits all of that 45 minutes to an hour, okay? Then he's going to take that and he's going to put that on a blog page on our website, and he's just going to write a short description of it. Or he's going to take the description that he put in YouTube and he's going to put it in the blog page, right? And then, but maybe that gives him an opportunity to go a little bit deeper. Maybe he starts writing the descriptions he has a Scorpio moon. So you know what I mean? So there's explorations here. Or maybe he doesn't really say much at all. Or maybe I do it. Who knows what we're going to do? But that would be the concept would be to take, even if it's just something very simple, right? And allowing, that to speak for itself. This frequency was channeled as the frequency of rose quartz. What does rose quartz tune you to? As such, this frequency is designed to tune you into blah, blah, blah. There's options here. I don't have writing thoughts right now, which is why I'm recording content. Or he could just put something as simple as explore the rose quartz frequency as the title. And then in the body, he could write in summer of 2024, we channeled an entire series of crystal frequencies. This is the rose quartz frequency. You can listen to the frequency by itself, or the pure tone frequency here, and the rose quartz frequency lo-fi song here. And if you really love it and want to listen to an entire hour straight of the rose quartz frequency song, here it is, right? And then at the end, he could put something as simple as, want to explore more ascended frequencies? Click here. And it's a link to the ascended frequencies category on the store. Super easy, right? Okay. So I've just explained to you how you can code a reality to receive money. He's got some way that people can find him and pay him. And then every day for a week, I just want him to explore doing this. So an hour putting out his frequencies or his frequency on the platforms on YouTube. And then, but I'm telling you, I want you to spend no time. I want you to be very quick with describing what this is and then putting it out there. Just making sure that people, when they're Googling rose quartz frequency, they can find it. And then letting the frequency speak for itself, because Michael's not naturally a writer. He used to write more than he does now. He's been wanting to explore it again, but it's not something that happens naturally for him. He doesn't naturally talk about the frequencies. The frequencies do the talking, right? So we just want to build a muscle for him that lets him very quickly provide new free brand entry points for people to find his work and then explore more of it. And if you're not naturally a writer, you're not naturally a speaker or whatever, right? That's okay. These are muscles that can be built. And so when you build those muscles, then it just becomes very easy. He records a frequency and he knows exactly the 3 sentences he's going to type in this blog post. And then, he puts in his tags and, does all the things, puts in the link, and there you go. And then people, boom, there it is. That's the exact frequency that I wanted. And then they can go back and they can explore the rest of his work. They can look at my work. They can, all of the things, blah, blah, blah. How fabulous. Yay! Very easy, right? And then when you've done that, what I've just described might be total 2 hours of work a day. I want you to let that be enough. I just want you to try this for 7 days. You don't have to do it 7 days in a row if you don't want to. I want you to try it for 7 days total. And then if you like it and it's vibing for you, I want you to try it for some more. Okay? Just 7 days. Let's just try it for 7 days. Let's see what happens. And then take a look at your stats. And, maybe you're not a millionaire in those 7 days. But maybe your stats have gone up. Maybe your confidence is starting to build in actually sharing your work. Maybe you're starting to get more inspired. Maybe you found that a few days you didn't even care how long you were working. You actually wanted to do 2 or 3 frequencies and make a song and put it out and then do all of this. And then all of a sudden, Michael's posted 20 times in a week on the blog because he's put out 20 things because he's like, doing all the things, right? Just because because that's recoding your reality. And then let that be enough to be compensated for. And tell yourself like, well, I've done enough work for today, I made an Instagram post and I announced that Witchery U was officially open. And then I recorded for 4.5 hours. But I made that post at midnight before I went to bed last night. And then I got up and I recorded my first episode. I took a break. I took a shower. I had some tacos. I vibed for a little bit. I was like, I am about to spit some fire. I hit record again. And now we're here. That's what I've done today. It's 6:21 p.m. I've done enough work, right? And I've got things set up that I can go ahead and receive. So do you see how this is applicable to you, whether you have things set up that you can receive right now and you can just tune into like, I've done enough to receive for the day. And then you can just start to let that code your reality. And then that's how you'll just start effortlessly receiving. Or you can go out and you can set things up very quickly and easily and then let yourself tune into that energetic shift. Because really, I'm going to be honest, every single time I've found this to be true, like, it's really like 80% energy minimum, 20% physical activity maximum. Well, I've recorded for 4.5 hours today. I don't intend to do anything else. I might make a post in Witchery U at some point if I have something to say, but I currently don't. I also sent like a few messages to a private client. I don't really have anything else I intend to do today. And I've created enough that I am now going to tune in to just, I will receive for it, whenever that is. It might be today. It might be tomorrow. It might be a week from now, but it's going to begin to flow in the more that I code my reality to receive this way. And then the more that I create in this manner and then expect to receive because of the work that I'm doing and talking about, right? And then as we put these episodes out, people begin listening to them. We start, then, we're posting these episodes on the website. Then I'm making other posts. Like I was like, I should just be using my blog. Like I use fucking social media. Like I write most of the time, my captions are like short blog length captions. Like I could literally just be putting this into legacy content instead of daily content. What am I doing, right? So I'm going to explore that. And it's like,
the website will always exist. Social media is
yes,
not guaranteed.
Yes. That's like the vibe, right? And then now I can go chill. I can go lay in bed. I can go take a nap if I want to. I can go just kind of chill and vibe and like play my game or whatever. And I can just be like, I'm done with work for the day. And that's an important thing that most people don't do. I'm done with work for the day. And I am receiving compensation for the work I have done. And then let it be true. That's it, right? It took me like 40 fucking minutes to teach you that, but I guess you needed to be taught. I needed to explain it to myself so that it would make sense. But I needed to explain it to you too because it's actually very easy. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, this stuff is very easy. We can go in depth with it. We can explore it, but when it comes to just getting people in a, less financially inconvenient state, it's actually pretty easy to do that, right? And I don't want to profit off of financially inconvenienced people. I would rather teach you how to make money for free. And then when I've taught you how to make money for free and you can afford to pay me from that money that you're literally making from what I taught you on my free podcast, then you can pay me. That's what I want. I know it's shocking. I'm not like, take out a loan and sell your left kidney to pay for my mastermind. I'm not a villain. That's villain energy. That's like, if you look at like every superhero movie ever known to man, like that's super villain energy. So don't pay those people and keep your kidneys.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
And not have a loan to have to pay.
Yeah. And if you're selling a service, then just sell to people who can, like, there's so much predatory activity. Like, I'd always be like, look, if you can't afford to work with me, don't work with me. I don't want you to pay me if you can't afford it. I've had some people say stuff like, I'll take out a loan to work with you. And I'm like, don't do that. That's not a vibe. Would you like to maybe do like, be like, would you like to be in my group spell instead? Would you like to be in my financial blockbuster group spell instead? I would literally be like, no, stop that. I'm sure more than enough people have paid with me via their credit card. That's their business. But like, if you've got a credit card with that limit, I assume you know, that's your business, right? Yeah. But when somebody's over here like, I can't afford it, but I'm going to, like, or, you know, these coaches who basically say that, like, go take out a loan to work with me. I've seen people actually say that. It will be the best you have to sometimes borrow money to make money. Like, they use that, like, concept. It's very predatory. It's very weird. And that's also one of the reasons why I decided to start multiple free podcasts and resources for people to learn how to make money. So that then if they're paying me, you know, they're making money and they can afford that, and it's like a good time for them. They're like, yes, this is how I want to. I get really excited when I spend money, so it's like, yes, this is. I'm excited that I'm paying her this after. I would love that. I would love it if so many people were paying me, and they were paying me because they had listened to my free podcast or my YouTube or something, and had like gone out and learned how to make money, and then they were like, finally I get to join Monetize Your Magic. Like, I'm so excited. You know what I mean? Like, I would love that. That would be like, that's like my dream. That's what I did. I listened to a free podcast. I had to adopt all the strategies for a magical person who was doing very different things. And that's why I also give a lot of different options and different perspectives and different, like, if you're here, do this. If you're here, do that, you know, do that, right? Because I want people to, like, be like, oh, I know what to do. Not like, oh, I've got to go decode this for myself, right? Because that's what I had to do. But I listened to a free podcast, and I learned how to do business, and I learned how to, like, sell things and stuff. And then I wasn't in a business program. I didn't have a coach. It was none of that. Like, I didn't take my first, like, business coaching program until 2019. Yeah. Like, I started the business in 2016. I was on my second 6-figure year when I bought my first $2,000 business coaching program. That was all it was. So, like, you don't have to do these things. If you want to have a coach from the beginning and you're like, I want to do everything in this specific way and I want the VIP treatment, I support you. I support you so much. I do. But you don't have to, is the point. Like, you know what I mean? You can, if you're somebody who's like signed up for the VIP Cosmic Royalty package from the get-go, like, there you go. That's fabulous. But you don't have to. You don't have to be successful and to monetize your magic and to do all of the things that you're dreaming of doing. I want everybody to thrive. So let's cast a spell to everyone thriving. To everyone thriving.
To everyone thriving.
To everyone thriving. Yeah. Now I'm going to hit the bong for all of us. And if you would like to have a sip of something or also smoke your herbs or whatever you're doing, feel free to join us. To everyone thriving!
To everyone thriving.
Yay. I might not go take a nap. I don't know. I've got some writing to do. I've got some grids to draw. Maybe I go lay down for a little bit and then I get up and do that later. That could be a concept too.
Okay.
It's really about tuning into what do you want to do right now and then just living your life like that. That's one of my biggest secrets. That's really, I think, how to thrive is like, what do I want to do right now? And then letting yourself do that. And if you're tired, but you kind of want to do a little bit more, then do that. If you want to lay down, lay down. If you want to vibe, whatever, do it. Anyways, okay. What do you want to go do right now? Go do it. I love you.